I'm very excited to welcome all of you to FAccT22. In its 5 years, FAccT has become an incredibly important institution in the lives of many members of this community.
And work first presented here has had an outside impact on the rest of the world. We all know why this research is so important. The cliches about how AI can enhance human flourishing but can also cause egregious harms are cliches, in part because they've been so rigorously demonstrated in FACT research.
But there is a special significance to what we're doing this year. The COVID-19 pandemic is not over. Many members of our community have faced incalculable personal loss over the last 2 years.
Many of us still have to second-guess every decision to go out in public, much less to travel around the world for an academic conference.
But we continue to believe in the intrinsic value of coming together in one place,
getting to know one another in 3 dimensions, and advancing our shared project on the basis of unmediated personal connection.
But at the same time, we have to learn the lessons of the pandemic and retain the great benefits to inclusion and equity that online conferences have enabled.
So this year's conference represents our first attempt to develop new norms for our new world, to enable the undeniable spark that comes from in-person interaction while ensuring that members of our community who cannot or do not wish to travel also have whatever opportunities digital technologies can afford to achieve the same level of mutual engagement and understanding.
There are so many challenges with achieving this. Some fundamental collective action problems cannot just be wished away.
Some hard structural realities must be reckoned with, especially when it comes to financing and to international travel in times of COVID.
And we'll learn as we go along. Just like last year's conference was a first, so is this one. We decided early on that fundamental realities of human behavior and technological affordances place hard limits on how successful a literally hybrid conference can be.
For the online audience, content works best when it is natively online. For in-person audiences, it works best when it is natively in person. So we tried to give everyone the opportunity to have a full experience of the conference in the format that works best for them, given their decision about whether to attend in person or online.
There are many other firsts this year as well.
It's the first FACT to take place outside Europe and North America. There'll be a prominent voice throughout the conference from our Korean hosts and other scholars from the Asia-Pacific region. I'm one of them from Australia.
We were able to fundraise to support a series of diversity, equity, and inclusion scholarships
for scholars whose work could enhance the FACT community, to sustain their research and ensure that their labor to make us a better, more inclusive community is properly funded.
We established a new community keynote highlighting voices that might otherwise not come to prominence and supporting high production value video content for our community.
We have adopted a first pass at a sponsorship policy, which includes a process for ruling out companies as unsuitable sponsors of FACT.
Consistent with that policy, we've raised more funds from foundations and industry than ever before, which has enabled us to massively subsidize the conference for all students.
And devote around USD 300,000 to travel scholarships.
The different contributions of the conference, from keynotes through craft, tutorials, and research papers,
reflect the diversity of interests of members of our community.
It would be reductive to try to extract any overarching theme beyond an overwhelmingly decent and uplifting concern for research and practice
that prioritizes social justice in the development and deployment of socio-technical systems.
For our part, the general chairs have sought particularly to highlight perspectives on FACT issues from Korea and the surrounding region,
as well as to give special prominence to matters concerning the intersection of FACT research and labour organising. Both in our research and in our practice, our best hope of achieving the social objectives that we broadly agree upon comes through solidaristic collective action.
The organization of this conference is just such an example of collective action in practice. Providing both an online and an in-person conference involves literally double the work of providing one or the other.
And that too at a time when interest in this topic, measured by submissions at least, is doubling too year on year.
Our organizing committee and our student volunteers have put in an incredible amount of labor and creativity into this effort, and we thank them all on behalf of the FACT community.
What made you start thinking about FAccT topics? I am an NLP researcher, and ever since I moved from Korea to the US as a child, learning a second language, I've thought about the biases and hate in language, and how people can be hurt by words. Now we are seeing that chatbots and other computational systems are generating language that can be harmful. So it's a very, very important problem, personally to me and the entire society.
What were you hoping to achieve with FAccT22? Entering the planning for FAccT22, there were many, many uncertainties that we were grappling with. We knew the goal was to plan a hybrid conference based in Seoul, and this would be the first time that FAccT was outside of North America and Europe, so this was a really big moment. And particularly for an Asian American like myself, I was really excited about this more global emphasis in FAccT22. Now, there have been many challenges that have come with the fact that this is a hybrid conference. We realized that basically meant planning a virtual conference and an in-person conference and trying to figure out how the two would interact and mesh. So much of what we've been trying to achieve with FAccT22 is just to make sure that folks are able to attend the conference and enjoy and learn from all of the incredible research and expertise that is shared in this community. It's been quite a while for many of us since we have attended an in-person conference or even a hybrid conference, and so there's been many unknowns that we've been grappling with. And our hope is that through all the hard work of the organizing committee, the student volunteers, and everyone else, that the conference experience is as smooth as possible and that folks are able to really utilize this as an opportunity to connect with others in the community.
What has surprised us most about the experience of putting the conference on? I've really enjoyed working with this group of people. It's been fantastic to see people who we're all slammed, right? It's been a really hard 2 years, let alone what's been going on in people's personal lives around COVID. The knock-on effects of that have been just enormous, literally enormous. Like outside of the norms, they've been very hard for a lot of people to bear. And it's a lot of work putting on a conference like this. So seeing the willingness of people to actually step up and do a job and really help out has been fantastic. It feels bad to single out individuals, but someone like Rita Kadri, who came in to help out with financial support, put in so much work there and helped loads of people get to the conference. Something that I really value. I'm helping with the visas. Alice O, our local chair, our diversity, equity and inclusion chairs, they really did kind of go the extra yard trying to help out people who had trouble with their visas. FAccT has been fantastic in setting up the virtual platform. There's many other people to thank and to highlight, but I'm just going to mention a few of those few. It's been really heartening to see the level of commitment people are willing to put into kind of growing and sustaining this community, and long may it continue.
At the end of the day, the reason I'm optimistic about where we're heading is that I see so many people who care about what we're doing and are trying to do the right thing. We don't always agree, we don't always end up with the right answer, but I see more people who, once faced with the reality of the awesome power of what it is that we are trying to build with these systems, realize that they have to think very carefully about how they impact the world. So that's good. But I also see that the people who are out there who are not interested in writing an algorithm or building the next system or doing whatever, increasingly understand that the systems that we're building matter to them and they want to be a part of that conversation. So as more and more people want to be a part of the conversation, I become increasingly optimistic. And I'm going to remain that way. All right, so that's it. We're done, right?
Yeah, we're good.
All right, good. Wait a minute. We forgot to announce the awards. We got to announce the awards. Okay. All right. Let me know when you're ready.
All right, we're good here.
Okay. Here we go. So one of my favorite parts of going to conferences is looking at all the great work, all the great research work that people from a wide variety of backgrounds have done. And it's also really nice to be able to celebrate all the great folks who have done such great work that we get to celebrate. So I would like to take a moment to announce the winners of this year's Best Paper Awards, and a new award we have for the best reviewer.